How long have you been living abroad in kind of general? I know you're not abroad right now, but how long have you been kind of back and forth?
Yeah, this is actually the longest I've been in the States in 10 years. I say that loosely because I have been living in the U.S. Virgin Islands. So it is a U.S. territory, but if you've ever been there, it's nothing like living in the mainland of the United States. So yeah, I've been traveling and living places usually about 3 to 6 months at a time for the past 10 years.
Wow. Okay. 10 years. And that gives you a lot of experience and a lot of different locations if you're kind of moving around every, let's just round up to a year. So I like that. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the different locations or countries that you have lived in?
Well, I haven't done as many as a lot of people. I am a very slow traveler. I don't really think I have the goal of traveling to every country like many people do. I think my goal is more about living in different countries that serve me at that time in my life throughout my life. So like Czech Republic, for example, I lived there for a year several years ago, but I've been back to visit like 7 or 8 times. But I've never been to Vienna because I just didn't have any reason to go yet, you know? So I don't necessarily go everywhere to see everything I can see. When there's something I want to do or learn or experience, then I'll just go. But I make a lot of great connections. I have a lot of great friends that have become just a part of my life. So I do end up staying places for longer periods of time or going back to visit. I mean, now Americans are finally experiencing what so many other people in the world are experiencing when it comes to visas and passports. And I have friends in countries where I can invite them to my house in the States all I want to, but they'll never be able to get a visa to enter. They'll never be able to afford that process. So it's easier for me. So, you know, that's kind of why I end up going and living in the same places for so many years or such long stretches of time. Like I lived in Thailand for 6 months at a time over 5 years. Um, I've lived in Kenya for the past 3 years. And I have lived in the U.S. Virgin Islands. And I have traveled to about 35 or so countries in between all of that. Sometimes I just take a couple of months and say, okay, I don't want to live in these places, but I want to visit. So I'll take vacation. I'll take
Yeah,
a vacation, you know.
that works. I love it.
But so
That's really kind of what I'm interested in. There's so much to see. And while there's absolutely nothing wrong in setting roots and, finding your place and making that your forever home for a while, I want to kind of go to different places, spend 6 months here, spend a year there, and get a lot of experience, and then kind of figure out where I want to kind of settle and then stay for, several years.
yeah, absolutely. I've been able to live in Africa, in Europe, and in North America and Asia so far. So, I kind of know a lot more about what I like and what I don't like and what works for me and what doesn't work for me. And things are things are often, I think, not the way that you assume that they're going to be. So it's nice when you slow down and you really get an idea of what the culture is like and what your culture is like and how you react to things. Some things you might want to adopt from the culture that you're visiting, and some things you might feel like, this isn't really for me, or this isn't how I thought it was going to be. So yeah, I'm not such a fast traveler, but I enjoy a lot.
I love it. So I know right now you are in the States, but as you mentioned, you are interested in going to Czech Republic. What is taking you to that location? Or if you've been there before, what is going to take you back to that location?
I went the first time to study teaching English, and now I'm going to do an arts management course. It's the education actually that keeps bringing me there. I have really, really amazing friends there, and they have great beer. I had a really great time when I was there. Like I said, I've visited like 7 times over the past years. My friends have gotten married and had babies, and, life has gone on, but we're still really close. So I have always enjoyed the Czech Republic as a destination. It's a bit cold for me, so I don't think I'll stay for a very long time. I do prefer more tropical environments, but yeah, it's a beautiful country, and I just like the Czechs' very no nonsense approach to life, so it works for me.
Cool. Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I will go for the summer months and then like leave and go somewhere else because I cannot do the cold. And here I'm right now, I'm in Texas, moved from Virginia because I was like, I don't want to see any more snow ever. So I completely
Chicago
get that.
girl originally, but I've just not lived in it for so long. So I am like in the States trying to buy every sweater and boot that I can because I'm like, where is the sales rack? Let's utilize the United States for what it's good for. Kohl's, Target, all the department stores, because I'm so scared of being cold again. But it is beautiful in the winter when it's cold, and there's Christmas markets and hot wine and all that lovely, lovely stuff. So hopefully it'll get me through.
Okay. So when you did make the decision, what was a defining moment, or what helped you make the decision to move abroad?
To move abroad initially, so I grew up traveling. So I am a person that's very lucky that I didn't have a lot of like adverse reactions in my family when I tried to do this. I don't remember my first plane ride. Both of my parents have traveled abroad in their youth extensively. So I wasn't, having a lot of naysayers. So I'm really thankful for that. But I was married and my husband passed away, and I felt drowning in grief. I was working in Chicago. I was living my life. I had actually started teaching in Chicago at that time. And I just felt like my healing had hit a plateau. I wasn't getting any better. I wasn't letting go enough. And he was my soulmate, and we were in the same community, and everything reminded me of him. And I remember the moment when I realized that I had to do something. I was walking my dog, and randomly this house that had always been gray was being painted yellow, and it was half yellow and it was half gray. And I just realized everything's still going to change around me, and I can't handle change, like I wanted everything to stay the same. When he passed away, I was holding on to so much, and I saw this house has always been gray, and now it's going to be yellow. And for whatever reason, that just made me sob like a crazy person on the street. And I was like, you got to get better than this, girlfriend. Life has to go on, and you're never going to be able to control everything. But that for me was the sign that my mental health and my spirit were just not in the place that they needed to be. And so it took me about 6 months of frantically figuring out loosely what to do and how to progress. It was from a place of like, I need to fight for my survival. I need to fight for my mental health. I need to fight for my spiritual health and my spiritual well-being. It wasn't so much from a place of like, oh, yay, let's go travel right now. I knew that I needed to get myself out of the sadness and the depths of despair and the depths of grief that I was in, that I had become comfortable in. And I was just kind of, after year and a half, 2 years, I was just kind of marinating in that pain, and I wasn't progressing. And I said, you know what? You don't have kids. You don't have a husband that's nagging you and, holding you down and at home and wanting you to stay there. A lot of people are wishing that they had that kind of freedom. So my husband and I had always talked about the things that I'm doing now. We had always, kind of loosely had plans of, traveling and then teaching art abroad and educating children in communities that don't have access to that sort of thing. So I said, I got to live for both of us now, and I got to get it all together, hone it all in, and just kind of start making my steps to figure it out. So that's how it worked for me. And I'm still working it out as I go along.
Wow. Wow. Thank you for sharing that story. I think that resonates a lot because kind of you mentioned this, that a lot of people, when you ask, why do you want to travel abroad, you kind of get that very casual response. Oh, I love to travel, or I want to see another way of living. Not to say that that's not true, but I have found that when you have a deeper conversation, you normally do find bigger stories, bigger reasons why people are motivated to move abroad. So I really appreciate you sharing that with us. It's almost kind of like looking at the glass half full versus half empty, or trying to find the silver lining in a remorseful situation. So I really do appreciate you sharing that with us.
No problem. I'm happy to share it now, because I was very young when this happened. I was still in my 20s. So, you know, everybody that had been through what I had been through had, I was only married for a couple of years. Everything was still starting out great and fresh and happy and in love. I didn't have 20 years to get mad and angry and have a bunch of kids. And, I didn't have any of that, that a lot of widows had that were twice my age. So there wasn't a lot of resources for me, I felt like, on how to deal with it, or how to get to the next step, or how to work through this pain and through this trauma. I had a very supportive family, but when you're dealing with something like that, no matter how much somebody loves you, they can't take that pain away. You have to find that within yourself. And so yeah, I didn't necessarily know that I would be doing it for this long when I started out, but America has changed since I've been gone, or maybe not changed, but just ignited. So things are much more intense here, that kind of keeps me out there.
Yep, yep. I can definitely see and agree with that. It's almost like, okay, well, do I want to go back to that? I think I'm better where I am. So I completely get it.